If you own a small business, it's not a question of if some hacker is going to attempt to attack your company, it's a question of when. Let cyberpolicy.com keep you safe. CyberPolicy is the first end-to-end solution that combines cyber planning, security, and insurance. With CyberPolicy, your business will be protected against cyber attacks for as little as 40 cents a day. Visit cyberpolicy.com today and get a quote in just 4 minutes. cyberpolicy.com.
Blog Talk Radio.
Franchise interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews. Welcome to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship. Listen to interviews with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And now, welcome your host, Marty McDermott, and Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 10 years now, we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and we have a great show today. We're meeting with Jeremy Barnhart of the Apex Fund Run franchise. And Apex Fund Run is working hard to make fundraising easier. Their method is to collaborate with school PTO and faculty, build student teachers through a meaningful, hassle-free, and financially successful school fund run. We're going to talk to Jeremy about that in just a moment on Franchise Interviews. So stick around because we have a great show.
The Stone Coat Franchise Opportunity. Are you looking for a unique and lucrative franchise opportunity? If so, take a look at Stone Coat. With a patented process which creates a true stone finish on almost any wall or ceiling, Stone Coat is a true game-changing product in the multi-billion-dollar construction industry. Stone Coat is applied faster, cleaner, and cheaper than conventional quarried stone, which saves both time and money. With advantages in remodel and new construction of both residential and commercial projects, Stone Coat is a true crossover product. The Stone Coat franchise opportunity provides a low startup cost, low operating expenses, comprehensive training, ongoing support, and no royalty payments. For more information on the Stone Coat franchise opportunity, go to www.stonecoatfranchise.com. That's www.stonecoatfranchise.com or call us at 972-380-2700. That's 972-380-2700.
Franchise Teacher.
Would you like to know how to franchise your concept or grow your franchise business?
Meet the experts at Franchise Teacher.
The goal of Franchise Teacher is to teach, coach, consult, and advise. The team of experts at Franchise Teacher will evaluate your business model and present you with a winning business strategy.
Franchise Teacher will help you decide whether or not your concept works and if it's franchisable. Franchise Teacher is proud to have over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors.
Franchise Teacher are developers of over a dozen franchise systems, which include brick and mortar as well as home-based concepts of nearly 3,000 combined franchise locations.
Whether you need to add more units or get more customers, Franchise Teacher can help. We will teach.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn our proven system.
Coach.
Franchise Teacher will help you provide a game plan to succeed.
Consult.
Franchise Teacher will make sure you stay on track.
And advise.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn from our over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors. Take advantage of our free, no-obligation phone consultation. Simply go to franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
That's franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
Hi, this is Connie McDermott, Administrative Assistant for Franchise Interviews, LLC, and you're listening to Franchise Interviews.
Franchise Interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 10 years now, we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and as we were saying earlier, we have a great show today. We're meeting with Jeremy Barnhart of the Apex Fund Run franchise. And Apex Fund Run is working hard to make fundraising easier. Hi, Jeremy. How you doing? Welcome to the show.
I'm great. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic, Jeremy. It's great to have you on this show. We always like to ask our guests, where are you calling from today?
Scottsdale, Arizona.
Nice. Well, I don't have to ask you how the weather is there, do I?
You do not. It's sunny and warm. Another beautiful day.
That's fantastic. You know, this show is real timely, Jeremy. My son, he's in third grade, and he recently brought home a bunch of like chocolate bars, you know, to sell to neighbors and family and friends and things like that. You know, and I think it's always such a it's so difficult. You know, we always feel awkward, you know what I mean, going up to neighbors and asking them to, buy product for, his school and things like that. You know, we're the ones who usually end up buying all of them. You know, so I thought your concept, when I learned about it, I said, wow, this is it. This is fantastic. Maybe you could talk a little bit about the history of Apex Fund Run.
Yeah, absolutely. We started the company about 6 years ago, really out of a combination of passion and need. The need side, as you well know, is the fact that elementary schools and high schools and teams all over America need fundraising. Always have, always will. And the reality is the fundraising industry hasn't changed much in the last 30, 40, 50 years, that it's still primarily product-based, just like you said with your son. And the unfortunate thing is with product-based fundraisers, they don't really raise much money for schools because the school only gets about 20 to 30% of the proceeds. It really doesn't benefit the kids because the kids just turn into little door-to-door salespeople like your son, which isn't always safe in today's society.
No.
And they don't always really help teachers at all either. And so we had a deep-rooted passion for education, for fitness, and really wanted to be able to make an impact in the industry because, my father taught outside of Chicago for 43 years, and my business partner, Scott, his father was a principal in Seattle, Washington, and his wife, Amy's a first-grade teacher. And so we really saw that there was a need, and we had a passion for it, and we really started it because of our wives and my children. Scott's wife, Amy, as a first-grade teacher, was spending money out of her pocket for supplies in her classroom, which is the story amongst elementary school teachers all over the country. And my wife was a PTA president in charge of fundraising and really was looking for a healthy non-product-based fundraiser, and nothing really existed. And so we started looking at the industry, and again, we saw three core things we wanted to change. The first was we wanted to benefit teachers. And so with Apex Fund Run, teachers get to keep 10% of what's raised in their classroom. So they're actually benefiting from our fundraiser unlike any other. And as you can imagine, they endorse and support our program all over America like any other. The second thing was we wanted something that benefited students. And so with Apex Fund Run, we're teaching students leadership skills and fitness awareness, things that will hopefully benefit them for a lifetime. And then on that third front, we wanted to raise more money for schools and organizations. And so with our programs and our technologies, we raise double or triple what schools have ever raised before while doing all the work and teaching their kids leadership and fitness. And it's really because of our technology base. With our technology, every participant in any one of our fundraisers has the opportunity to get a unique access code to log into our site with, where they can then create their own page on our site, customizing it with their own pictures and own information. And then they can use our Share Wizard technology that allows them to send out emails, text messages, Facebook and Twitter messages to their friends and family all over the world, explaining that they're having an Apex Fund Run at their school to raise money, and would they please pledge them per lap. And so, as you can imagine, we're raising money from previously untapped sources. Your son's hitting up your same friends, your same neighbors. But with our program, if you're, in one part of the country and your grandparents are in the other, they're not going to buy those candy bars, but they'd be able to pledge your son on a per lap basis for a fun run. So we have activity-based fundraisers that really benefit students, benefit teachers, benefit schools, and really take the burden off of parents and PTA members all over America.
What's been the response, Jeremy, from the students and, of course, the teachers? I mean, imagine, of course, it's been very positive, but, it must be nice to get that feedback.
Oh, absolutely. We've already served over 1 million students all over America.
Wow.
We've raised almost over $30 million for elementary schools all over the country, and the kids love it. Parents love it as well, because our leadership and fitness lessons are things that they want their kids to learn that they're not currently learning in most schools. And so we get letters and emails from parents during the school year that would have you and your listeners in tears over the impact that we've had on these children, because we're letting them know that they matter, that they have value, that they can do anything they set their mind to, and that even at their age they can be leaders in their homes and their schools and their communities. And it's a really powerful program.
It really is. It's a great concept, Jeremy. You were talking a little bit about the industry. I mean, I imagine that this industry is huge, Jeremy. I don't know if there's any particular numbers on how big the industry is. But I mean, we're constantly being asked, from our neighbors' kids and things like that, to donate to their school and things like that. I mean, I guess it's safe to say that you're in a pretty big industry.
It really is a big industry, because our franchisees really can help their entire communities. We've got programs that allow them to raise money for elementary schools, middle schools, high school teams, even local community organizations like churches or children's hospitals. We've got sororities and fraternities around the country that are supposed to be doing charitable work as part of their missions, and they're utilizing our technology to raise more money than ever before. And so really it is a billions of dollars industry, because everybody across America, whether they've got kids or don't, is helping fundraise for someone or something.
Exactly. What's been one of the most interesting things that's happened to you, since launching or being with Apex Fun Run, Jeremy? Anything stand out?
Well, I think the positive response we've received has been great. I mean, it is such a feel-good story that people love it. I mean, we've even been profiled in Business Week, as the new face of fundraising in America.
That's great.
And so we've gotten just tons of great awards. I mean, I started franchising our concept just 3.5, 4 years ago, and have already got 85 franchises in 23 states. And at this point, we raise about $2 million every 2 weeks. So we've just had such an amazing growth trajectory, and the people just love what they do. I mean, when we go to communities, it grows virally because people need it. They need our program, and we really fill a void there. And our franchisees love what they do. At the end of the day, when they put their head on their pillow, they know they've made a positive impact on their community while making a living at the same time, and it's a pretty rare combination.
It is a very rare combination. Absolutely. I would totally agree with that. You're talking about your franchisees, Jeremy. I mean, what do you look for in your franchisees? I mean, any types of characteristics or traits that you specifically look for?
Yeah, they're really outgoing, socially minded people. This is a community-based business, again, and anyone that you talk to is a potential client, because they either have children that go to school somewhere, or they've got their local, nonprofit that they support. And so our folks are just passionate, interactive, social people who share the solution. The beauty is my franchisees aren't selling a widget. It's not something people don't need. They're providing a solution to everyone's fundraising needs that also provide lots of other benefits.
That's fantastic. What is the training like, Jeremy? I mean, once you decide that, you do like them and they like you, and they want to come aboard as a franchisee, I mean, what's next? Do they typically come out to Arizona, the headquarters? Is that how it works?
Initially, we do a remote training as it relates to sales and marketing. We're sensitive to people's time and their money, and so we've got an extensive training system with a 250-page manual, videos of every component, and we really work them through the sales and marketing side of it so that they can then have sort of that 30-second elevator conversation or a full presentation to a PTO or a coaches group to be able to share our solution. At that point, we then help them with the data mining for their market and their territory and the potential schools and organizations and teams that they can then market to. And we then send someone to their market to actually help them launch, to help them with how to do effective drop-bys at schools to get the PTOs and PTAs' attention, how to do an effective launch where you invite people to learn about the program and be able to see someone actually have those types of conversations. we recognize that people all learn differently. So some may learn from the manual, some may learn from the videos, others may need to see someone actually just do it for them to say, okay, I get it, I can have this conversation. Once they've then got organizations or schools signed up, we then train them and their team of athletes who serves the schools, and at that point they come to Arizona for Apex University, and we train them on how to do everything from pre-planning meetings to teacher huddles to pep rallies to classroom days to fun runs to the collection process, the entire program, so they can then go back to their markets and serve the schools and organizations effectively. We also have recurring training. We have an annual convention every year where all of our franchisees come into town, and because we're an innovative brand, we actually reinvent ourselves every year for our franchisees. And so we come up with a new theme, new curriculum, new prizes. So it's always a new fundraiser for schools, which is why they love doing it year after year after year. And so every year they bring their teams to Arizona the first week of August, and we train them on the new theme, the new curriculum, the new prizes to roll out for that respective school year. And then we do bi-weekly calls with our franchisees that are based on sales and marketing techniques, quality control, operational best practices, and a mid-year refresh in the middle of the school year to really help them focus in on the things that can make their business even better. So it's really constant support. I mean, franchising is really a win-win, lose-lose scenario. And so we recognize that we want to be there for our franchisees to help them succeed because that's the only way we succeed.
That's fantastic. And those meetings must be very valuable, Jeremy, to everyone, at corporate and, of course, the franchisees. I imagine, over the years, you've developed some really great best practices, from learning from some of the other experiences of the franchisees as well. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. We bring in really, really talented, smart people, and they've got great ideas, and we're not too egotistical to believe that we have a perfect program or system. And so we take people's ideas and insights, and we test them out, and if they work, we distribute them to the rest of the country. And so you're absolutely right. There have been lots of great concepts that our great franchisees have come up with that have benefited everyone in our system. And that's kind of the beauty of our model, too, is that we really are kind of a family type of a business. I know it's cliche, but if you think about people who want a community-based business where they're teaching leadership and fitness and raising money for schools and teams, those are pretty nice people. And so our franchisees are amazing folks who help one another, support one another, encourage one another in a way that I find to be different than any other model out there.
It's a fun franchise opportunity, no pun intended, of course. But the name,
that's right. We put the fun back into fundraising.
Exactly, it really is. It's fantastic. It sounds like too. What I liked about it too, Jeremy, was that a location isn't an obstacle. I imagine that many of your franchisees, can they work from home? Do they like their home-based office?
It's all home-based. Yeah, no real estate required at all.
That's fantastic. I mean, that really saves a lot of the pain sometimes. We've been doing the show now, 10 years. We've spoke about sometimes the challenges of finding that great location, and that's not an issue for Apex Fun Run, is it?
Nope, not at all. You can really just work from your home, and you're out in the community just talking to people and finding their needs, and you're able to fill them.
You've answered the next question, Jeremy, but maybe I might have missed something, but how about like a typical day, for our listeners who are listening and say, wow, this sounds like a great opportunity. I mean, what is a typical day like for a franchisee? I mean, again, as you mentioned, they're out in the community. Anything else?
Sure. Yeah. So initially, it's really is sales and marketing where they're out there, sharing the solution with schools. So they're going to be going out and meeting with PTOs and PTAs, those parent volunteers in elementary schools and middle schools. They're going to be going out and meeting with coaches to try to help their club teams with fundraising. They're going to be meeting with districts and principals to help them with our leadership-only model. So it's really a kind of boots on the ground kind of combination of calls, emails, meetings, presentations. Once they've got their business sort of established and they've got organizations and teams lined up, they then are hiring those athletes that actually go into the schools and do the program where they're teaching the leadership lessons and the fitness lessons and reinforcing it during recess and PE. And at that point, they're effectively just managing those athletes to make sure they're following our systems, following our daily checklist, serving the school to the utmost, but also managing those relationships. so they're managing the relationship with that PTO person or the principal or the coach to make sure they understand that they're their local partner year-round for their fundraising needs, which establishes, an annuity business where our clients recur year after year after year. And so it gives our franchisees a lot of flexibility once they're established to really, hire the right people. Like in any business, you can hire those folks and delegate and allow them to really do a lot, and gives you the flexibility to have a great work-life balance. I mean, it's hard work out of the gate, but once you're established, if you've got the right teams, you should never miss a kid's sporting event or a doctor's appointment or a music program. You've got the opportunity to do summer vacations and spring breaks that you might not have with other opportunities while still making a great living at the same time.
That's terrific. And studying your background, Jeremy, I mean, you sound like, a real entrepreneur. And, the majority of our listeners, we call them aspiring franchipreneurs. Most of them know they want to get into specifically franchising, but we find that most of them don't even know where to begin. From everything that you've learned, in franchising the concept, what advice would you give to our listeners in their quest to buy a franchise?
I'd say do your research. There are 3,800 franchise brands in America. So there's really anything you can possibly think of, there's probably a franchise out there. But I would say find your strengths, find your passions. It needs to be something that really connects with you. I just don't think you can get up every day and be excited about something that you're not passionate about. And so find what your passions are. And most people don't take the time to do that self-reflection to really determine what makes them happy, what makes them tick. Nor do they assess themselves as to what their strengths and weaknesses are. I tell people, we as entrepreneurs think we can do everything, but we really can't. And so you've got to be able to identify those weaknesses, outsource them, or bring in people to support you in those weaknesses, and focus on your strengths. Do what you can with those strengths to build those. And that's what it takes for finding a franchise as well. Find something that plays to your strengths, that plays to your passions. There's lots of organizations out there that have coaches and brokers who'd be happy to sit down with you and introduce you to brands that maybe meet up with your passions, needs, and interests. And I say take advantage of it. There's really no cost to you as a prospective franchisee for them to help you find those brands, and they're out there. Many of them are hard to find. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't find Apex Fun Run if it weren't for brokers, because it is a unique brand. I mean, we're the only fundraising franchise in the world. So I'd say do your research, but first of all, know yourself.
Yeah, I think that's excellent advice. Where do you see the organization, Jeremy? Like maybe if you could look into a crystal ball 3 to 5 years down the road, where do you see Apex Fun Run?
Well, I'd say we've really over the last 5-6 years, we've created different program offerings every year that allow our franchisees now to be that one-stop shop. And we've really gotten to the point where now our franchisees kind of want us to stabilize a little bit, let everything sink in so that they can really get the market saturation they want. And so I'd say we're probably not going to add a lot more product offerings over the next few years, as opposed to just focusing on really building up the saturation in our markets with our franchisees and continuing to add on great franchisees all over the country. I mean, most of the population in the United States is Midwest, East Coast based, and so we've got lots of great available territories all over the country for people to be able to get into a really fun, rewarding business. And so we're really focusing on continuing to grow to be that household name as the fundraising partner for communities, and really make an impact on communities and building leaders all over the country.
That's terrific. What's the best way, Jeremy, for our listeners to get more information on Apex Fun Run as a service and, of course, as the franchise opportunities? Any websites that you'd like them to go to?
Absolutely. Yep, they could go to www.apexfunrun.com, and there's information on there as it relates to our programs as well as to franchising.
That's fantastic. And I've enjoyed having you on the show, Jeremy. I've been following this concept for a little while now, so it's great to finally have you on the show, because I think it really does solve a very big problem in the industry, so it's terrific. And I'd already like to invite you back next year as you continue to grow. I think this is great.
I appreciate the opportunity.
My pleasure, Jeremy. We'll be right back with more franchise interviews. Coming up on segment 2, you're going to hear what every franchipreneur needs to know before buying a franchise. We're going to play a clip from our popular Great Quotes in Franchising podcast right here on Franchise Interviews.
Are you looking for a franchise that delivers? Businesses will always need shipping, and for more than 25 years, loyal customers have depended on Unishippers for reliable savings and exceptional customer service. Unishippers is focused on just one thing: helping small and medium-sized businesses save time and money on all their shipping needs. And as the largest reseller of complete shipping services in the country, we have the buying power to ensure that we succeed. The Unishippers franchise offers low startup costs, no equipment or real estate required because they're not retail, residual income, and a quality of life and work-life balance. For more information on becoming a Unishippers franchisee, go to www.unishippers.com and click Franchise Opportunities, or call Franchise Development at 801-708-5822. That's 801-708-5822. Franchisers, are you looking to reach aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise? Are you looking to reach a highly educated audience on franchising? For over 8 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys, and our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Hi everyone, this is Marty McDermott from Franchise Interviews, and welcome to another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, where each podcast you get to hear a great quote in franchising. You know, we've been hosting Franchise Interviews many years now, and you can actually hear the show in a number of different places today. You can go to, of course, franchiseinterviews.com, where we have our interviews arranged alphabetically. We also have interviews arranged by category. So if you have a particular industry that you're interested in, you can go to the category of your choice and check out all the different interviews that we've done over the years. Our show's been syndicated in a number of different places. Of course, you can hear our show on blogtalkradio.com. We've been working with Blog Talk Radio for many years now. And you can hear the live shows there, and then you can download them as an MP3. You can hear our shows on Stitcher.com. You can hear our interviews on, I think it's pronounced, I always want to call it Blueberry.com, but it's BLUBRRY.com, which is another podcast service. You can now hear our shows on iTunes.com, and of course, you can hear our shows 24 hours a day, 7 days a week if you're a diehard fan to our show on live365.com. And we have over the years over 420 shows. So if you were to listen to live365.com for 2 weeks, there's a chance that you may not even hear the same show twice. So that's how many shows we've recorded over the years. But today's Great Quote in Franchising podcast comes from Darren Guccione, and Darren is the CEO and co-founder of Keeper Security, Inc. And what's interesting about this podcast, we had Darren on the show as the founder and the creator of Keeper, which is the world's most downloaded password manager and digital vault. And Darren is a real entrepreneur. And one of the questions that we ask on the show is, what advice would you give to an aspiring entrepreneur or franchipreneur or someone looking to buy a franchise? And that question is usually directed to someone who has been directly involved in franchising over the years. But again, Darren is a real entrepreneur. His background is in accounting and business. And I thought his response was just as great as anything that we've heard on the show. So here we go with Darren Guccione, the CEO and co-founder of Keeper Security, Inc.
Amazing. It's amazing technology. In studying your background, Darren, I mean, I was mentioning earlier, I mean, the majority of our listeners, again, we call them aspiring franchipreneurs. You know, they want to go into their own business, and they're kind of like heading towards the franchise alternative. What advice would you give to them? Because you're certainly, in studying you, certainly classified as an entrepreneur. So what advice would you give to them?
Well, my background is engineering technology. I'm also a CPA, and I've always had an admiration for franchises. One of the things that I love about franchises, among other things, is that you can analyze the different franchise models that are out there, the brands, the type of businesses, and you can quickly identify which ones are successful. And typically, they give you a roadmap of what you need to do to execute. When you start a business without a franchise roadmap, you typically don't necessarily know where you're necessarily going to go or wind up. And so you get a greater sense of security and guidance when you can pick a franchise model that, A, fits within, your goals in life, your interests in life, and B, provides a really sound, infrastructure for you to build a business with a great support system around you. Most businesses that are one-off businesses don't have that. So there's a greater sense of, uncertainty out there when a business owner or an entrepreneur, as you've outlined it, decides to, pursue a franchise versus doing something completely fresh and new. I think the risk profile of doing the latter is much greater. So that's my response to that.
It's fantastic advice. So any final thoughts, Darren?
Fantastic interview with Darren Guccione. So I want to thank everyone for making our show such a success, and this podcast has really just taken off over the years, and we got some really great quotes in franchising coming up. So thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you again soon with another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising from Franchise Interviews. Take care, everyone.
Ultra-fast, ultra-reliable internet is a big deal. 'Tis the season for Astound's best cyber deal ever. Make your whole house happy with Astound Internet. Just $25 a month for 2 years, plus a $100 gift card when you order online. Or get a $200 gift card when you order Astound Internet and mobile. Hurry, because this is a limited time offer. Go to Astound.com and switch today. Additional terms and conditions apply. Gift card with online orders only. See Astound.com for details.
As a research university, NJIT makes smart technologies even smarter. That's why NJIT graduate and civil engineer Anya O'Dwyer says the university is so important for her industry.
Construction and civil engineering is always going to have cranes and, people and movement, but how we're designing and implementing things, that's what's changing. We have millions of data points now that we never had before, and that's allowed us to think about planning and design in a way that we haven't done so before. NJIT is very much at the forefront of that. Collecting data, understanding data, manipulating data, having access to a facility like NJIT, which is constantly focused on research and innovation, is so important for the industry and what it means to be designing for smarter systems.
NJIT, New Jersey Institute of Technology. Learn more at njit.edu.